Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode into my series where I interview my colleagues and friends who studied something in Polytechnic, then went on to do something different in university or for their careers. Today, I have with me Jorden, and maybe Jorden, you can do a quick intro.
Hi, my name is Jordan, as like kind of just mentioned, but you can call me anything you want. I'll still react to it. So I'm currently working in a video production house. I do the business development for the company, but at the same time, I double up as a small editor, second cameraman as well. Yeah. So you do multi roles, right? And not like what you say, always a one trick pony, that kind of thing.
Right, so Jorden, maybe you can share a little bit more about what course you studied in Poly or what course you graduated from and which Poly you graduated from as well.
Okay, so I graduated from Temasek Poly I have a diploma in biomedical engineering. No. Diploma was biotechnology. Yes, yes. Yeah. Oops, spoiler alert. But yeah, so I got a diploma in biotech. Basically we learn about whatever is happening now is something that we have learned in the poly days. And it was very science-based, lots of math, lots of experiments to do. I think I was pretty lucky to be able to work with machines like bioreactors. It looks like a beer cake, but it kind of grows bacteria inside, right? And it literally looks like what you see in those nuclear labs in the movies.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you also do a degree in the same subject or do you study video production?
No, so my degree was a little bit different, but it's still in the realm of science, right? So for my degree, I got a major in biomedical engineering. So it's a little bit different from what I studied in poly, but we still study very similar things like how the human body works. And my course was a lot on re-engineering the human body. So not like making you into Deadpool or something, right? But what we do is we learn how prosthetics are built, why are they built in certain ways, and how do you counter react forces? Because like if you're gonna design a prosthetic leg, right, you have to count your shear force, and then when the guy steps onto it, that whether he steps will actually hurt because of the amount of force and the material that you use matters as well. Wear and tear comes in, how much pressure the thing can take before it fails. So it was pretty interesting, but I took the course while I was working. So for me, it was like a time. It was a part-time degree, just like you, right? It was a tough 4.5 years, I think.
Wow,
Yeah, it was tough.
that's a long time.
Yeah, it is. It's because I'm not the best at math, and I didn't get A math in secondary school, right? So when I entered university, right, it was like, oh guys, if you have studied A math, great, it's very similar, but if you have not, you might want to catch up.
Okay. Okay. So there's a quite a big jump here, right? You studied the sciences at Polytechnic and university.
Mm-hmm.
You're currently working in a production house.
Mm-hmm.
When I met you at one of our previous jobs, you were doing a sales role at an advertising company while studying part-time.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe you could explain to us, right, why this progression?
Okay. So I would think that this progression is really I didn't plan it.
Okay.
I'll be fair. I didn't plan a single thing. So the only reason I was able to get into uni is because when I signed up for the course, it was probably the only course I could have gone in. Because SUSS was still pretty new, it was still SIM. So I was kind of the lucky ones that when we graduated, they just become autonomous, right? So we got that little benefit there. So in my first job, I was doing something science related. I was in A-Star, we were in the animal lab. I was looking after rats, mice, rabbits. And it got a little bit tough because my job requires me to count a lot of animals every day. So I had to look after, imagine, you look after a mice from a little pink thing with no eyes, all the way until this guy grows so big with fur, and then you have to start jabbing him with medicine, with viruses, and then it gets a bit, it gets to you after a while. Yeah, so it was a little bit tough. So I did think that, okay, you know what, maybe the research department isn't for me. So I went out to a company that sold lab equipment. And then after that, I went on to Job Central, right? That was where I met you. Because I realized that I prefer staying out of the office more than staying in the office. I mean, it keeps me sane, but that's that. And I think the fun part of it is that you get to talk to a lot of people, you learn a lot of stuff as well. At the end of the day, a sales job is I feel that it's not a job that is meant for everyone. It takes a certain kind of character to be able to wake up every morning and know that, you know what, today someone's going to tell me no my face, but it's going to be fine. I can still move on with my life. So from that advertising firm, right, what happened was I left for New Zealand for about half a year. We were traveling with my girlfriend. And then during that journey, that was where I picked up videography. So before I left for New Zealand, I bought a GoPro. So we did like some vlogs. It's still on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. Yeah, and then so we did a little bit of vlogs. I started to learn how to do video editing, how to set the cameras right. Oh, and this is one of the first camera that I bought right after the GoPro. Yeah, it's a little vlog camera there. First camera, good camera, but not for what I can use now. So after I started learning video, and I thought, hey, you know what, I don't mind doing this for a long time. It's something that is pretty fun. But that was my perception back then, right? Because I was doing videos that I like to do. So I think sometimes there's a mismatch of expectations that you enjoy doing the videos you like to do because it's what you want to do, but it might not do at all. So when I started doing video in a corporate world, right, there are times where you are doing videos, not be you enjoy doing it, but because it pays, it puts bread on the table, basically for the whole company. Sometimes video might not turn out the way you have envisioned it because there are some expectations from the clients as well. So it becomes a little bit challenging there. But for the transition from advertising to video, I think it's not a very big gap because basically it's still really like you're marketing something for the client. Mm-hmm. So when we're selling job ads or selling scholarship ads, we are always thinking of ideas to attract students or to attract job seekers using text. But now my job requires me to think of ways to create a visual video, and I have to use sound as my trump card to evoke emotion. So when people watch videos, they want to watch stories, they want to have that emotional feel, and they'll be like, hey, you know what? I should really get that product or that service that person is selling. I don't think it's a very huge change. I think the biggest mismatch here is what I have as a degree to
That's right.
Right now. Yeah, I get that a lot when I go on shoots, and then people's like, so you studied film? No, I have a degree in biomedical engineering, but yeah, that's that.
So was there any pushback from your family and relatives? Because I'm assuming you will have gotten a much better or very high salary doing something in science, right? Especially when you're working in places like the places you've worked at. I mean, most people know that certain industries, the salaries may not be the most spectacular, but science seems to be one of the things, especially now with the emphasis on STEM.
Yeah. So I think for science, it has always have that place of prestige where you are almost like a doctor kind of level because you're like a scientist. As long as you do science, so like, are you a scientist, or are you a researcher? So that kind of job as a researcher is not a job for everyone as well. you got to be someone with a lot of patience. You're going to be someone that can really sit there and keep thinking of these, right? But that's not me, lah, basically. I prefer to go out of the office. When I started working in a video production house, definitely there were pushbacks, right? Because, being a person with a degree in biomedical engineering, doing a job in a production house, which is a lot more physical because you have to carry equipment, as opposed to, I could be sitting in the office, just typing stuff or, pouring test tube stuff. My mom was pretty supportive. She's like, just go try. But as long as you have a plan in mind, you know what you're doing, and and if you see yourself doing this for a long time, you can enjoy yourself. Why not? But just make sure that you always have a plan in mind and not regret for making this decision right now at this point of time. So for me, I'm gonna say I'm very lucky because when I started this job in November 19, November or December 19. Because I have prior scale sales, it was easier for me to sell an idea, and I managed to sell an idea to the very first client that I have, and I'm still serving them a lot. And then circuit breaker came, right? So I didn't really get to shoot a lot during the whole of 2020 until like somewhere in August when phase 2 was open. But from the time that I joined all the way until circuit breaker, I have learned enough to do my own videos that allow me to practice, and I started doing my own YouTube videos. And I think from doing all those videos, it helped me learn a lot more about production as well. And I think the biggest takeaway I have for circuit breaker is that one person, you must have more than one skill, basically. At the end of the day, everyone can do video, but no matter how great of a video you can do, you need somebody to be able to sell the idea first before you can get the video done.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, right? Because if no one's going to buy that idea of the video you have, that video is never going to happen at all. So when circuit breaker came, we did lesser live shoots, but then once in a while we have live streams, and it was then and that everyone started looking at me differently because I said, hey, you know what? Now everybody's doing video, everybody's doing live stream. I think there was 2 or 3 months I was shooting almost 6-7 days the whole week, and it got like until now I still feel like, I think I still have sleep debt. I still feel tired from those days. Yeah. So I think I must say that I'm pretty lucky because of COVID, right? It kind of gave me a little boost in the industry, and it allowed me to go out a lot more. So I think whatever I learned in the last 6 months, right, is probably equivalent to what someone can learn in the last 1 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually like your point on how people cannot just have one skill. You literally become a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
You can't be that old dog that doesn't learn new tricks.
Yeah.
I think in career development, they always talk about T-shaped or pie-shaped skills. So you have a broad base of knowledge, then multiple lines down. So either one you're expert in one area, but you know a lot of things, or you have multiple specializations. So I guess in your case, the sales is one of your, will you say sales is your broad-based skill, or what are your specializations? You can pretty much do most jobs. Then you have area specializations in, for example, science, then sales, and maybe a bit in videography. I guess this is like you kind of have a 3-legged career protection there, right?
Yeah. But like you say, right, to have passive income, you got to have like 4 streams. So it's like a table, which is a bit more stable, right? If I lose one leg,
3, a stool. Yeah, so I guess you can play safe and have 4. Okay. So you shared a bit of your story already, but perhaps maybe you could share any words of wisdom or any advice you have for people who might be looking to switch.
Okay, so I think that to switch between industries, I don't think it's a hard thing to do. Like everything in life, you got to have a plan, right? let's say, for example, if today you are a office admin person doing accounts, but then you have always wanted to learn coding, right? I think this is what the weekends are for. So in the daytime, you perfect your skill of doing your accounts or whatever. On the weekend, you learn how to do coding. And then if you can find a sweet spot between your hobby of like, doing coding and your day job, technically you could merge them into one where you create a bot to automate your day work, and then you can use your free time to do other things as well. So you are not really switching industry in that sense, but you are learning an extra skill set, because I think that I don't call myself switching in that sense, because I still use my core skills of sales to learn different skill of like video production in that sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just very, very important to always have a plan. I mean, if you like sewing, then you got to find a way to stitch your sewing hobby into something, right? So like my mom, she's like stitching some masks right now, but that's like her hobby to like, just relax. Yeah, I think as long as you got a plan, I think that is the most important thing to have in life, right?
Yeah, so I like your suggestion on how you talked about trying to integrate whatever additional skill sets into the daily work. So it's not necessary for you to actually jump out of the industry. For your case, you're still using the skill sets. I guess it's like adjacent skills or multi-skilling in a sense where you're still doing the same job, but you bring a different perspective or different value to your company and yourself, because now you have raised your own value in the sense that it is quite hard for the company to get rid of you. Also, like you're doing multiple roles and you're one person.
Yeah. So, I think it can be a bit threatening to my colleagues as well sometimes, but I just got to remind them that, hey, I'm not the best at the other two things, but I'm only good at what I'm doing. The other two things I'm still learning. I don't think I'll reach your level.
Oh, I guess you could get them in on it, right? You could, help them. If say they are in the editing side, you could teach them how to, do some sales pitches so they can actually sell the ideas to the clients instead of the clients try to change the edits they do, right?
Yeah.
I guess it works multiple ways also, lah.
Yeah. But the person must be willing to learn as well.
True. So I think willingness to learn seems to be a very important thing to have for this case. So any final words or advice?
No, man. Always have a plan. That's
always have a plan.
Always have a plan, man. Or you have to someone that has a plan and you can learn from that guy. Like, can you please teach me how to plan? Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the crux of your messaging is always have a plan. You brought it up a couple of times.
Always have a plan.
Okay. I think that's all the time we have for today. So thank you very much, Jorden, for joining us in this interview.
No problem. Thank you so much.
And as you might have noticed, if you've been paying attention, Jorden has brought up his YouTube channel a couple of times. So I just link it in the video at the bottom here. All right, see you.
All right, thanks, man.
Okay, thanks for watching till the end of the video. If you found value in this content, please help me out by liking the video. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications as well.